Okay, this is our last video for a while because my computer now says that our storage space is almost full. So we're going to have to figure out some mechanics of this. And over the next month, what we're going to do is I'll accept readings from everyone in this group, where if you want to read to me on a Zoom conference and record and then share that with the group, the reading, I think that that's going to be the best thing for the next month, because I feel like now I've given you the introduction to virtually everything, and now you need to practice everything. So the natal chart, the transits, a solar return, a progress chart, the asteroids on charts for 4 different charts. Over the next month, that's what I want you all to do. You can also do synastry if you have permission from the other person. So for instance, this morning someone said that she wanted me to run a relationship chart, but she didn't know the time of the birth of the other person. And I immediately responded that I cannot run synastry charts unless I have permission from that other person. So that actually for Lindsay's case, it was different because she was then taking that information to him. But generally,
I asked him in advance.
And she asked him in advance. But generally, I won't do a synastry unless both parties are there. So don't be sneaking with the synastries, okay? I mean, it's really like tempting to be like, can I know your birthday? Can I know your birth time? Can I know your birth location? You know, to every person that you meet, but don't be sneaking with the synastries. I won't do a synastry unless both parties are present. And I have permission from one party if they're not there, because otherwise a lot of people will use you as sneaky relationship situation to see if that relationship will work. But you know what? You don't know if that relationship will work. You really don't. That's why I always put it off for weeks or months before I'll read a chart like that, before I know that they're really committed to each other. So then you can do the synastry, the solar return, a progress chart, the natal chart, the transits, the asteroids. You can do as many as 6 different chart types for 4 different people, 4 or 5. So if you have, like, you know, grandma and mom and you and your 2 kids and you want to run a 5-line synastry chart, you can do that. That's really interesting to see what you're all working out, what's like the main family line. Now, in the solar return chart, what this is it's an imprint of the degree of your sun when it returns each year. Not the ascendant, okay, but the actual degree of the sun. So in this chart, the degree of the sun is 114. Leo. So what will happen, because we're flying through space super fast, is I think it's actually 70,000 kilometers per hour. I might have misspoke about that, but I looked it up again. It's 70,000 kilometers per hour. We're flying through space. We're also going like this, and we're also going like this through space. So what happens is you'll have a different ascendant, you'll have a different moon, the planets will all be in different locations, and your sun will probably be operating in a different house. So that is just an imprint, like an overlay to the natal chart. It's not more important, it's just an imprint on that one day as an overlay for the activities of the year. And like the progress chart, which is one day in the ephemeris for every year that you are old, which actually was discovered and created by Johannes Kepler, I think it was. Yeah, I wrote this all down and then I lost my notes for you. But anyways, that was discovered like in the late 1700s to do the progress chart. And then the solar return I find incredibly accurate. And I've done Lindsay's too, so she can kind of see from year to year. When your ascendant changes, it changes you tremendously, and you'll start to feel it as many as 3 months ahead. I feel it definitely within a month. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a Cancer ascendant. And then you'll start attracting a whole bunch of people because now you're vibrating at Cancer Ascendant, you'll start attracting a whole bunch of people who also have a Cancer Ascendant. So your frequency changes from your solar return. It's very important to run one, I think, every year and see, oh, I have a big stellium in the 6th house. I'm going to be in major service mode this year. And in fact, that's what's going on. I have a Cancer Ascendant. I have tons of planets in the 6th house. I'm in major service mode to the point where now I am actually tricked into being in service mode by my chart. I have so many clients who have paid me on PayPal before I even agreed to do it, that now I'm just booking because they already paid. It's almost like a trick. The universe has tricked me into being in service. Otherwise, I would say no. And I hadn't thought, maybe I should just shut down my Facebook account because it's like so overwhelming. But what I did was I just can't stop being in service, because then I realized, oh my gosh, we got to make an eclipse video. We got to do this unity consciousness. So it's almost like the universe tricked me into being that stellium in the 6th house of nonstop service. All right, so you should also look at when you run this like a major geometry. You can see that major geometry on that one. Okay, and if that's really different from your natal geometry, like maybe you've got a really easy fire trine and everything's just so perfectly spiritually aligned for you. And then you're like, ooh, I have a square. I have a T-square. What's it pointing to? Oh my gosh, it's pointing to my ascendant of me being revolutionary change within me, because this person has a Uranus conjunct her ascendant in a solar return. It's like revolutionary change inside of me, some flashes of insight. And for me, I got very excited about this chart because I know this person, and I was like, ooh, maybe you're going to go into your light body. Maybe you're going to go light body 5D in your first wave ascender this year. So for me, I'm like, yeah, revolutionary change in the 1st house conjunct your ascendant. Maybe you're going to go light body this week. And then it's like very exciting. So look at the solar return in that way. What else do you need to look at in the solar return?
Well, I think you said it all. The geometry, the ascendant, where the moon and the sun is. And you wouldn't, I learned this, and I'm just reinstating it, you wouldn't look at transits in the solar return because essentially they are the transits of that year.
Good. This is good. So then what do you look at in the solar return? Because this is an imprint of the transits, don't continue to like apply transits to a transit chart. Mm-hmm. You apply transits to your natal chart, but what you can look in the solar return, okay, is because I know this person quite well, and I know her sun's chart, I found that her moon was now conjunct her sun's north node, because I know both charts and I have one of those weird photographic memories. So I was like, oh, wait, I remember that her sun has a north node at that same degree, and now her moon is conjunct his north node. So then what that led me right into after seeing that is something really big is going to change for your son this year. You're going to help him, your child, not your S-U-N, your offspring. Something really big is going to happen. You're going to do a big change with him because your moon in your solar return is conjunct his natal north node. You following all these words? So then what I did, because I'm one of those really geeky, if you really know me, I'm a terrible geek. I ran their synastry chart together. And when I did their synastry chart together, then I was like, oh, this is what you're actually going to work on. This is the meditation you're going to do, the visualization you're going to do. This is what you're going to do to, release your son's north node and let him come into his destiny. And then you get really geeky and you see the solar return, and then you run her partner's solar return and her partner's natal chart and their synastry, and then it becomes like a total geek out session, which you can only do with other astrologers. It's really fun. You can totally blow your mind. By the end of the day, you have a migraine, you've looked at so many charts, and you need to go for a walk. which brings me to the next piece that I wanted to discuss with you before I run out of space on this computer, is I only do 2 chart readings a day, and I thought this would be important for you to know. I have done 3 chart readings, which how many hours of talking is that? My voice is absolutely gone by the time I've talked for 3 chart readings, because how many hours is that? 4.5 hours of nonstop talking, plus drawing the chart and arranging all the appointments. Doing the appointments alone takes me a really long time. So you want to have basically all on your page, all the details of where's the PayPal, send me a Zoom link, here's the cost, and just keep saying, check the details on the page. But I can only do 2 chart readings a day or I'm mind cracked. So if you all start doing chart readings, in order to be a really phenomenal oracle, like a seer, like a multi-dimensional galactic shaman, I only do 2 chart readings a day. One, I do it like early in the morning, and then I do like a 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I spread them out so that I take a walk, I get some fresh air, I do my yoga class, whatever in between, and that makes you a good astrologer. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask too. I know you activate charts before you read them, and you do that when you draw them.
So when I'm drawing the chart, and I see what the aspect lines are. So when I was drawing this chart, and I also get color feelings from charts. So I'll draw the red line really dark, and sometimes I'll go over it, and then the green lines in this one, I went over them twice, and I really think about what that energy is. And then the pink lines, which are sextiles in this chart. And what's interesting is my color combinations often will activate the client. For some reason, I decided to use green and pink rather than purple. And then the client gets activated by your color combinations too. And so, I used to have time to lay them all out and put crystals down on them, but now I say to the client, now you do that. You have a copy of the chart, you put crystals down on it, you activate it with incense, or I have them posted in their house so they can continue to look at their major geometry. So that's a way of activation. Anything else there?
Well, and I was also thinking you were saying how you go for walks and stuff, but to center yourself, even to do like a quick meditation as an oracle, because like you said, there's the geometry, but then I feel like for most of us, it'll be very clear what part of the chart we have to focus on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the being a centered human, like being a master, really, is what is required to be a great astrologer, so that before Lindsay comes, I start getting everything together. I get my Medusa thing, I write my Medusa thing out, I activate it with my own handwriting, I think about it, I dream about it, I feel it, and that's often what happens after charts too. Like, you've just read someone's soul, and I can't read someone's soul and then go right in and read someone else's soul. I just can't do it because I hold the energy of their soul, and sometimes I have to take a long walk in the forest, and I keep thinking about that person, I keep meditating about that chart, I keep feeling it deeply in my soul, so that I don't know how psychologists and therapists see one client after the next, because it feels to me like they'd be taking on so much in the psyche that they'd be mentally ill themselves. I do a lot of clearing rituals. Like when Lindsay comes here, I often have incense, I hit the gong, I'll do incense over a chart, I'll smudge us sometimes if I feel like some stuff has been interfering. So do all of that stuff to be a great astrologer, and spend a lot of time meditating. I will be quiet and just inward for hours a day, which is why my friends are like, Lalita, you never go out, you never do anything, why don't you come to this, why don't you do that? I just can't. I really have to process all of these charts. I go to bed at 7 o'clock, and I dream heavy on like Medusa. I dream heavy on, yesterday I had a woman from Wales, and her Welsh accent was also like deeply activating something in me. And I was thinking about the land of Tara and the mother goddess and the Vestal virgins that were in Wales, and Vesta was conjunct her north node. So then I'm really processing for like the entire psyche of the whole collective when I do these charts, because each person's chart is a fingerprint of God and the goddess, and the cells, we're all like cells of the consciousness of humankind. So the more that you hold and honor each chart, the more that you help them process it. It's almost like a psychodrama that you go through with someone because they're crying. I had a client this week from Hollywood, California, and she was telling, she had a water trine, so you can expect that person's going to be crying like the whole time, and it was a water trine kite. And she was talking about how she was so sensitive to the people using heroin and the number of people, the growing number of homeless people. She said the population in LA and Hollywood, California now is 50-50. Like there are 50% homeless people living on the street using heroin, and 50% people trying to have their house and their job. And she said that she drives through the neighborhoods and she collects all of that heroin smoke and the depression and the sadness of those people, and then she dreams about, they come into her dream time at night. Oh my gosh, did I have to process that one for a long time, because what I had to say to her, to be true to your chart, because you're an empath, because clearly you have Neptune conjunct your midheaven, like you're a deep mystic empath, you need to get out of there. And I told her, just based on your chart, you are sucking up every sadness from every homeless person. And if you no longer can process that, and you feel so deeply depressed that you're gagging and puking on the way home, you need to get out of there. You must move. And she's like, I own my own company. And I said, look, whatever your company is, the universe will support you. Your chart says you're an empath. You need to get out of there. And these are some of those things where she didn't ask me if she could move. I was just doing this based on the chart and the fact that her life force was so low and she was not being true to her ascendant. And if she's not being true to that deeply empathic ascendant, then sometimes I will get a little bit like Great Cosmic Mother with people and be like, you're not going to survive. Honey, you can't even breathe. You're puking and bawling this whole thing. You got to get out of there. I don't care what your job is. What do you say to that, Lindsay?
No, I had another thought about solar returns. My solar return, my ascendant was in Pisces this year when I had all this cosmic awakening up to other dimensions, and that the fact that there's ETs and we are ETs, like it all came like pouring into me as I entered this new solar return, which made a lot of sense. Actually, I think I said this before, but Lily, I had a huge water trine in my solar return, which I also have in my birth chart. But and Lolita titled it Spiritual Illumination, which is so true. But I was kind of like, oh my God, I can't function as a mother and a business owner. It's floating in Pisces. And I think Neptune was conjunct my midheaven too. Like I was, and Lolita was like, don't worry, it's only for this year. And you actually ran my next solar return as part of that session. Like you didn't go deep into it, but just to show me that like this was like to activate me, and then I was gonna kind of go back, get a little more grounded in my next, which was helpful.
Yeah, so look at your solar return as you may not get this opportunity again. So that's a good word for that. So, and if you have a client like the person that I just had, always offer to them, look, I can run your solar return chart. Let's see what it looks like for you next year. I know you're finishing projects right now, but can you get away a little bit? Like, can you go on a couple of week vacation or a yoga retreat or something? Just get them out of their current situation. Because this woman was starting, you know, some people are like suicidal. And I mean, you're not a crisis counselor, but you're just reading the chart and going, oh my gosh, you have a very empathic year, and you want to help them through that by offering to look into next year, because next year might be completely different. And you can see that with the transits too. By next year, Pluto will no longer be conjunct your Venus. You don't really need to end this marriage right now. Why don't you work with so-and-so, so-and-so, do this meditation with so-and-so? So just do what you can to show them things change. The planets are going to change. And another fun thing to do with your solar return is, you might have a water trine, and then you usually have a fire trine, so you might feel very watery this year and know that you're going to just be very emotional this year. You might have an earth trine where you natally have an air trine. And so instead of being able to express yourself, you really need to anchor and ground in your material resources this year. There's so much in the solar return chart, so much in the transits. That's why when someone comes to you, they've already had their chart read 10 times by other astrologers. You gotta be that up to date on how to read all kinds of charts. The other thing, and the last thing that I want to do for this video, is the Sabian symbol. So you have a natal Sabian symbol for your sun that's going to be the same Sabian symbol as your solar return. But your ascendant in a solar return might have a different degree, and you can do the Sabian symbol for that ascendant to see what is like the tarot card reading for the new ascendant or the new moon position. So maybe now you have a moon in Pisces and you're getting very mystical and cosmic. Look up the Sabian symbol degree for that Pisces moon and start to get like the words and the keynote of what that moon position is, because they're very accurate. Do you all understand that, or do you want me to grab my book real quick?
We went over it before, but it might be worth it to do again.
Lindsay can talk about something for a second.
Hey guys!
Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say. We'll just wait.
All right, so 2 more books to show you real quick that you can always use with your clients, because some people relate better to color. So you can show them because they're very, they feel into color really strongly. So let's just look at a color. And I could do this for all of you, but you can get this book. This is an interesting, sometimes the color will annoy you, and sometimes you'll love the color. So there's July 23rd, Nile Blue. And this is a very accurate divination also. The July 23rd Nile Blue is outgoing, nurturing, and friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know this person.
She's in our group.
She's in our group. Okay, so, and then it'll be surprising. This is like another type of a Sabian symbol. It's like a color astrology Sabian symbol, and all the colors are in there so that the entire month of each color is also like February are the shades of purple. So each month also kind of has a color theme. Autumn colors, okay, are more like the autumn colors. All right, and what's your birthday, hon?
October 12th.
So the October colors.
Robin's egg, or eggshell.
Yeah, so do that with people too. That's a great way. For you, the book is called Color Astrology. And I find that this is actually a way to buy gifts, is that you can get hand towels and washcloths in people's color astrology. And they might not even like that color, but if you meditate on your color it's a really helpful thing. So here's August 1st. They're really helpful to meditate on these colors. So August 1st is devoted, persistent, and intense. And there's actually a Pantone color number so that you could paint your whole house in that color.
Are you October or August 1st?
No.
Oh.
You're
just pulling out.
I'm just pulling things out. And you might look up your parents' numbers too. Like my father's color is my favorite color. Here's me. There's December 10th. Innovative, wise, and gracious. And blue sapphire is my father's color. And one astrology reading I did, she was getting into a relationship with a person who was the same birthday as her father. And when I showed them the color, she said, "Oh, that's my favorite color." And I was like, "So do you have any need to get closer to your father? Is that why you're getting in a relationship with someone who has the same birthday as your father? Do you want to work with this color a little bit while you're working with this relationship? Because there's certainly something there." Okay. And then Dane Rudyard's astrological mandala. I actually think that you can look up the 360 Sabian symbols online. Just Google Sabian symbol. And you always look up the degree just past yours. So this person is 114. Her sun is at 114 Leo. So you look up 2 Leo. Do you understand that? And that's the same for the moon. So if it's 19 degrees 40 minutes, you look up at the next one. Okay, so let's just read, and then this will be our last video for a while because I'm running out of space. And what I want to do with you all again is start doing Zoom conferences with you that you're willing to share with the group. Okay, do you understand that? So that you read charts and then we send it off by email to the group. Oh my gosh, this is fabulous. I've never read this one. 2 Leo is an epidemic of mumps. I have never read anything like this, and they're all so different. It's amazing. The spreading power of individual crisis through collectivity. And this is really interesting because I happen to know that this person is a healer and she's a massage therapist and a yoga teacher and an herbalist. So the epidemic of mumps is really interesting because I know that her capability with Lindsay's capability is that they are gifting their potions with spells and spelling for the ascension of the collective consciousness. So it's really amazing that the epidemic of mumps is this person's Sabian symbol. Very interesting. All right, Lindsay, anything else for this week?
Well, for the Sabian symbols question, so you would look up someone's moon and sun. Any other?
And the ascendant, if you really know the degree. And the way that you can also sometimes find the degree is read the ascendants and see which one sounds most like you, even if you don't like it, like an epidemic of mumps.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
You still can read it, and maybe sometimes the one that annoys you the most is your ascendant.
And the solar, and you do it in the birth chart?
You can do it in the solar return just to find out for the heck of it. And I also do this in event charts. So I will do the 444 Leo and 444 Aquarius. I'm sure that I did that degree marker of 5 degrees Leo was I read that in one of our event chart for the eclipse. So look up events also, and timing of things. The other event that you can do is when someone, the moment they decided to end their relationship, look up the chart for that. The end of a relationship, which is a beautiful transition and to be celebrated also. Okay, anything else? All right, sweeties. Happy eclipse on August 11th. I can't believe I'm running out of memory, so this might be the last video for a while. Love you.